Guess what? I'm taking a bath. So I've been thinking about different things that happened today and in the past few weeks and summing them up. And again, thinking about the different layers of reality and perception. And we can tentatively divide them into physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And how they're interwoven. And depending on which level we are, we perceive things differently. So, for example, let's take a fall leaf, like a yellow leaf. If you see a simple yellow leaf on the ground, on the physical level, you can pass it up. You can see it as a nuisance. You can, and again, on the purely physical level, it's just like a fallen leaf, right? That's what it is. And then we mentalize it and emotionalize it, and we can say, oh, that's a sign that fall is coming, and depending whether you like fall or not, you can get excited or you can feel nostalgic about summer. Purely practically, you could think that fall leaves are just more work because you have to blow them away or whatever you're doing. Or if we look at them scientifically, we can explain, like the structure of the leaf and what it does for the ecosystem and the scientific way of it changing color. And again, if we move to the emotional level, if we view it artistically, it can move us even to the point of tears, like the colors in it will inspire us to create something. And on the spiritual level, everything is basically one. So you see the leaf and you can have this profound love because you realize I am the leaf. But my point was more of that concept of duty and purpose, and what is our purpose, and are we fulfilling our purpose, and how often Jesus's message gets confused with being a martyr, like I have to sacrifice myself for the common good, whereas the way I understand it, it's total opposite. You just have to follow what is inside of you and pass through these levels and get to enlightenment and see things as they are and get to that level of pure ideas where the physical world is basically trying to mimic that and download things from there. And this is essentially what art is, and the art that moves us the most and that is celebrated throughout history is art that comes close in touch with the purity of the divine idea of beauty, whether it's a piece of music, whether it is literature, poetry, something that manages in some way to translate the most pure ideas. And that is a great work of art, one that touches upon a multitude of pure, divine, in a sense, ideas. And how our true purpose is to rise up to that through following our dharma and our heart and tuning in to be able to receive more from our divine self and using the mind and the body and the emotions as servants, becoming a clear channel for our higher self to express itself in whatever capacity It's needed at the moment for the whole, which should seem like the thing that is most natural for us. And at times it can shift and change. It doesn't have to be the same thing. But the way that we know it is when we feel harmonious on the inside. And the way that we know that one role is ending is when we stop resonating with certain things that we've been doing, and we feel like I need a change, and we feel this discomfort and a little bit of fear of the unknown and restlessness, dissatisfaction. What was satisfying before, it's not anymore. We feel this sense of lost. I don't know what to do. And we can get cranky and upset and go through all of these emotions, which are the emotions that signify change and renewal. And we see that in nature again if we go back to our full leaf. It's a constant process. And I think of that quote from the Bible now: be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So if we want to be on purpose, it means to be really alive to the moment and in tune with ourselves, in tune with the divine, and acting upon those instructions and aligning thought and feeling to fulfill our heart's desires. And when we do that, again, another quote, when we are in tune and in harmony with our spirit, it feels like a river flowing. And you are joyful because everything is harmonized, you're whole. And from that space, things almost kind of happen on their own. And even if they seem difficult or you're not sure exactly how you're going to achieve the end goal, things will come that will help you. And a lot of times the initial help could be as something helping you to dissolve the circumstances that you previously were in, that can seem as an apparent loss, but that loss is merely clearing up space for the new that is supposed to come through you. And that's why to be of service or of purpose is to simply be yourself and do what brings you joy and follow your heart and your passion and stay tuned in, so as things change, you can flow with them. When they change inside of yourself and you suddenly, get a different desire. And that is when we are in tune with the whole, acting as one with the whole organism. Because our function can change depending on what is needed. And when we're a clear channel, we could just be like, okay, now I'm supposed to be this. And allow the change to happen through you. And okay, now I'm supposed to be this. And allow the change to happen through you. And that's why it's very important to let go of attachments to former versions of self and everything that was related to them, be it people, places, thoughts, ideas, things. Because if we're holding on too much, not trusting that when we take a step, the ground will appear, then we have a lot of energy locked into the old, and we cannot be as clear of a channel to allow the new energy through that will help us and propel us when we jump without knowing where we're going. That energy will create the wings or the ground beneath our feet. So that is, to me, a useful distinction to move away from that idea of being a martyr and I have to suffer for the good of everybody. Because if you're suffering, you're just contributing with the energy of suffering to the overall energy. And if somebody's suffering, you suffering with them is not alleviating anything. We can only uplift people when we are in a higher vibrational frequency And from that higher vibrational frequency, we can see solutions for the suffering, or like tell the story differently that doesn't have that accent of being a victim or a martyr, and be able to come up with a solution. Like Einstein says, you cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. So we're actually of much more service to the world, which is ourselves, essentially, when we operate from joy, from peace, from wholeness, from fulfillment, from love, versus from being a martyr or a victim. And that's why the most important thing that we can do for the world and others and ourselves is to keep doing the inner work of growing and evolving and letting go of things that don't serve us, following our heart, tapping into that realm of pure ideas, and imagining only the best for ourselves and for the world and for others, and keeping that as the reality. And when we hold that frequency, everybody automatically gets elevated to fit that new matrix. So it's actually pretty amazing how much influence we all have, and how the more we are in our joy, in our flow, in love, loving one another, loving the earth, seeing beauty, appreciating beauty, pointing out beauty, keeping in focus more of what we want to see in the world, that's how we create it. So everyone matters so much more than they know. And together, we can create amazing miracles by simply focusing on what we want and channeling the energy there, versus focusing on what we don't want and feeling that we need to suffer to fix it. My cat is worried because I'm in the bathtub and he's outside and he doesn't know what's going on, because to him water, it's not a safe thing. It's not pleasurable, it's not enjoyable. But I'm following my bliss over here. And I'm not gonna suffer with him over there.